Welcome to the Old-Fashioned Three. They've been around basketball from the Big Dipper to the Greek Freak, from Russell Celtics to Curry's Warriors, from Peach Baskets to Paolo Banchero. Here are Whitey Gleason, Phantom, and Jerry Reynolds.
Yes, that was that cat, all right.
How about it? The Kings are back in the postseason. And before we get any further, I apologize. I should have done this earlier. Jerry, Mr. Basketball, I apologize.
Coco.
I have to check out what Phantom tweeted today to find out what we're supposed to talk about on the show.
A lot of
he
ideas.
never tells me.
No.
He says, well, it's only, I tweeted it.
I put it out on the social media platforms,
so
you should be able to find it.
What do you think of this, Jer? He tweets, see why the Old-Fashioned Three is called the LeBron James of podcasts.
Yeah.
Do you like that? Are we called that?
Can I tell you why I said that, or should we wait until the end?
I don't know.
Because remember, LeBron said he went to 2 foot doctors, and they told him to get surgery, but then he went to the LeBron James of foot doctors, and he told him he didn't need it. That's what that refers to. You got to stay up on what's going on.
I tell you what, you got to go with that.
Okay,
I mean,
all right.
Yeah.
So far, so good.
On that basis,
yeah. That's where it came from, Jerry.
Yeah.
We celebrate the Kings playoff coronation. # Kings. Oh, that's wow.
Huh? Well, Stone's taught me that.
Yeah. Revisit the 2018 NBA draft again.
Yes, I've got ideas.
Go to Jersey City with the Trailblazers and wait for Whitey to name drop someone who I'm not going to mention here. So
that's
bad.
well, we know
who it is. Yeah. That's pretty comprehensive right there. Huh?
I guess
Plus,
so.
And I didn't have a room to say and more because obviously and more.
You never need to say that.
I don't think
everyone
you do.
says that. We have that and more.
I think and it's inferred. We have more. Because I don't want to think that's
it's
all
implied.
We have.
You implied it. Someone else infers it.
That's what they said.
Yeah,
exactly. They said I inferred it from what you implied.
What does it mean to you guys that the Kings are back in the postseason?
I'm in favor of it.
See, I should have put that in there. I didn't know there was going to be any question of how you felt about it, Jerry.
Yeah, I mean, I was doing a thing with 1140 the other day, a little spot there, and they were saying, did you tear up? And I said, did you see me tear up? They said, no. Well, then you don't have any proof. I might have, but I ain't admitting to nothing.
Well, it was a question. It wasn't a challenge. It was okay if you did. I mean, you're saying.
Well, I saw it. I mean, being a manly man.
I see what you're saying.
Being First Lick, Indiana, you don't just tear up.
Well played. That was well played.
Yeah. That's Midwest. Yeah. Good call there, Jerry.
Yeah. What does it mean to you, Mr. Original King Season
Ticket Holder? It just means relief. It means it's seeing all these people that have just, given their heart and soul for the last decade and a half and had nothing to show for it, really nothing to show for it. And all of a sudden this year, and I think we've talked about it on here, maybe 38 wins we thought, maybe something like that. And all of a sudden, it's going to be maybe a dozen more than that. It came out of nowhere. It really did come out of nowhere. And plus, all the people following it, they couldn't really believe in it. That's why that other day was so important, because you couldn't believe in it, even though it's so close. The football's been pulled out so many times, but this time the football stayed, and it was just, people just went nuts.
I would quibble with one thing there, and I understand everything he said is accurate. When he says it came out of nowhere, and I didn't expect it. I know you had higher hopes. You saw it coming. I didn't. But we did know that they were trying to do this year, right? Before it was pretty clear. They said Minnesota did it last year. We want to do it this year. Now we knew we were skeptical, but at least we knew that's what they were trying to do this year.
Yeah, no, I think that was pretty much told everybody, and then of course by what they did, certainly thought it started with the trade last year to getting Sabonis. Obviously, wasn't a popular trade at the time for those who really had never actually watched basketball.
Thanks. I just like Halliburton, but okay.
Well, I do too.
Really narrowed it down there.
But having watched a lot, I understood why they would do that, and the level of talent that Sabonis had, knowing full aware how terrific Halliburton was. But like I say, the ESPN geniuses, and we have to put them in a special class.
You have a lot of respect for them.
I have.
We're going to get back to them, by the way, too.
I have, less than zero, but that's. But,
did you talk about that in the show in the car on the way over?
We didn't. We had it was kind of a barren kind of thing today.
A lot of silence staring out the window.
Whitey didn't bring much today.
He's just driving. Does he get 2 hands on the wheel, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Pretty much just
10 and
focused.
2. Yeah.
I think he's got more important things on his mind. I don't know how he could, but he
not on the way to the show.
Not on the way to the show.
Not at all.
So, or maybe he's feeling guilty about kind of leaving you out of the car show.
Yeah,
you
the
know.
car show. Yeah, maybe
Oh, you want
it
me to
is.
pick you up? Yeah, I feel guilty that I'm
a-
not picking you up.
That's an
too.
idea. I'm just saying that's an idea. I'm not saying you should, but it is an idea to get involved in that car show, which
All right.
sounds like a great
Sidebar.
deal.
Here's what we
But
talked about in the car
sidebar.
today. I mentioned Jerry. Yeah, and he's in a sidecar. I got
Well, obviously, yeah, the
Yeah.
old sidecar, yeah.
I said, hey, we were talking last time about players who ended up being not as good as you thought they were going to be, and I mentioned David Greenwood today. That's on the way over. That's
Okay.
that was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty. He comes up with stuff just off
Well, that's
the
good
cuff.
caliber for the car show. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
really nicely
'cause,
done.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's-
It's not his best stuff, but
then
it's
I
good.
mean, well, it's pretty good. I don't
You have to defend him.
I don't have high expectations for him.
So it's easy for him to meet the bar in the car show. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he said, "Yeah, that's very good." You know that, and that's the thing about it. You go back through the years, and once you do that, you can find all kinds of guys that,
Yeah.
boy, this guy can't miss.
Yeah.
And then of course there's those that do miss, and those that really don't miss, but they don't hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
So
may
they-
be a whole new segment for us.
I think so.
Don't miss,
I
but
think
don't
so.
hit.
Yeah.
I like that.
Next time in the car show.
Yeah.
And we're working on
Oh,
getting a
man.
sponsorship for the car
I
show.
don't
so
think
we
it
can
should be that hard. No. Yeah.
bring you that.
I can't imagine.
You
Yeah.
mentioned in your tweet
Yes.
the 2018 draft. You guys may disagree with this. I think a lot of people will strongly disagree with this. One of the reasons I think this year is so special for the Kings, aside from the obvious, is that in a way they move beyond the whole Luka thing. Because I think this year has proven that they're thinking of we're going to stick with Fox, and we're not going to draft Luka because we think Fox can be that guy. I think this year shows that that wasn't pure idiocy, that there was something to that. Now, picking Bagley was a bad pick, and who knows what would have happened if they should have picked someone better. But I think that's part of what makes this year satisfying and a relief, as you said, because in a way this year gets them as a franchise beyond that. That was, they didn't handle that well, but I think now that's all in the rearview mirror and they're beyond that now.
I think so too. Really, I mean now I know it's kind of convenient to trash Luka, which is like I'm having a tough time with that. I'm not saying, he has his issues, but I mean, he's been on playoff teams.
Yes,
and he's been
yes.
basically the only player pretty much in cases, and he was the best player on a 51-win team that went to the Western Finals last year.
Yes, yes.
And then,
Pretty recently, yeah.
Yeah, and so it one by raising one guy up and allowing him to be what we thought he'd be, Fox,
Well, he's so much better this year. That to me
Oh,
is the
so
key.
much
Excuse me,
better.
but Fox has elevated his game.
Yeah, and I think, like I say, I think Monty McNair, it's to his credit. I think he saw, basically that the Halliburton Fox thing, probably neither guy could get to the level they needed to or were capable of. I think Tyrese will with the Pacers. Fox certainly is now with the Kings, and neither were in their own way. But Sabonis, with his unique skill set for a big, and it clearly is, that would help and assist Fox, and I think it clearly has. It just has.
I think-
and you could see that last year, really, in the games they played, that was a comfortable match.
I
really
think,
makes
Mr.
it better.
Basketball, the dynamic that you had with Halliburton Fox, it didn't quite work. I think you would have had something similar with Luka and Fox.
Yeah, that's basically the reason I put that tweet out there to talk about this, because you guys have totally nailed it. Because you had three guys basically that were involved in that. You had Bagley, of course, and you had Luka, and you had Trae Young. Because remember, the Hawks got Luka, they gave him up for Trae Young, and that's the interesting part now to me, because you look at the three teams. You have the Kings are the ones winning 46. The Hawks are right in the middle of the play-in, and all of a sudden Dallas is on the outside looking in. So you look at it from that way, and you go, oh, that's strange. But like with Luka, what I'm thinking is, if you look at the Hawks now, the way they're constructed, take away Trae Young, of course, and plug in Luka with the Hawks now, and we always talk about trying to build a team around him because he's a singular talent with some deficiencies as well. But I'm looking at the Hawks, I'm like, this may be the perfect team that could have been placed around Luka, and yet they got rid of Luka and then got Trae Young, and he doesn't seem to be meshing with any teams.
His
really.
stock falling.
Yeah.
Fox, Luka this year, and I mean, maybe a little flat, but Trae Young this year, his stock falling.
Yeah, he really has, and I think that's a great point. I hadn't thought of it, but I really do think you put Luka on this Hawk
Look at the guys
roster,
they've got.
and it'd be pretty scary.
And the other thing, I mean, one of the guys we talk about is John Collins, and of course they've been trying to trade him for 18 months, 24 months,
18 years.
18. At some point, John Collins, we talk about a lot about mental health. John Collins has to go, nobody wants me at all. And I mean, his play has suffered a little bit this year, and I have to think that's part of it. But with DeAndre Hunter, with Bogey, and other guys around him, I think that would be a great team for Luka.
That'd be an awfully good team for Luka, I think. And like you say, Trae Young his stock has fallen. There again, he led the Hawks to a Eastern Finals 2 years ago, and certainly they were in the playoff for play-in last year, and they will be again this year. He's certainly a good player, but it has dropped. I mean, right now, everybody would choose probably Fox over Young, although Trae Young's a younger player. I don't know that Fox would be chosen over Luka right now. Still,
no, I don't think so.
And I understand that.
But
yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
So that's interesting. But we're talking in the car, by the way.
Yeah.
About
you guys got to have a transcript of that. I mean, we got to be able to read that somewhere.
But of guys, here again, guys that are highly paid that aren't quite what they're supposed to be. In my opinion of it's Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
A guy making $50 million a year, and he's good. But he's not a game changer by any stretch. And he doesn't play a lot.
You make the point.
I suggested to Mr. Reynolds, pardon me, that sometimes a bad team, they have to pay a guy like that much to convince everyone that the guy's that good.
Plus, maybe they're using him as a magnet to. Well, we have this guy, maybe, but we talk a lot about Fox getting Sabonis and using him as kind of like a springboard to better his game. Is there a player that Luka could use that way? I don't know that he's a guy that could use one guy like that and kind of free him up, because he does everything he wants to now. It just doesn't always work in the context of the team.
Well, I think, for Luka, I mean, certainly I think he needs better bigs.
I think the Porzingis thing worked at times and should have worked better.
It should have
overall.
worked better.
It seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah, I think they had the right idea. They had the wrong guy for different reasons, being hurt.
Yeah.
And I mean, you just can't really count on him. I mean, I don't know who would be. I mean, somebody like an Evan Mobley would fill the bill type thing.
Yeah.
I think that kind of big, athletic, and getting better.
Doesn't need the ball all the time to be really helpful for him.
He'd fill the bill on 30 teams, though. That's
yes,
the great
he
thing
would.
about Evan Mobley.
Well, how about an underrated guy? And we were here again, part of the card.
I am so jealous of this show.
He sold how terrible it was, and now
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Well, it was
actually,
kind of average, and then everything he says, he refers to.
Yeah.
Well, the car show we were saying.
Actually, we were better than we thought.
Yeah.
Not Naz Reid. He's hurt now.
I know.
That
That's
guy's
so
a
sad.
player.
I saw that today.
That guy is a player.
We all love Naz Reid. I mean, he's awesome.
Undrafted, right?
Yeah.
He spot shoot threes. He's athletic. He's long. He's physical.
Tough as Phantom.
He's tough as Phantom.
He's in that conversation.
He's
sure.
in, yeah.
In the
of course,
tough
he'd be pretty good for a team closer to, like down the road there at Golden One too. But
it'd
that's
be great.
another.
I thought you were going to say Golden State. I didn't want to give him to
No,
Golden
You didn't
State.
see it when because it was the Durant return game, and
see
he
it.
went up, and you could see because he goes up and he goes to dunk and he falls backwards like this, and he has a left hand
puts
out,
the hand on
and
the
right
ground.
away he's like and you could just tell.
And he stayed in the game for quite a while with
Yeah.
a broken wrist.
There again, a free throw.
Sounds like a king to me, buddy.
Yeah, toughest fan. That's why they say toughest.
They
fan.
do say that toughest fan.
Yeah. Yeah, I think another reason it's so big for the Kings is, everybody, so many people went to so much effort, and I'm sure you did, and I know you did in some ways, to keep the team here. And you almost lost the team twice, right? Twice the team was almost gone. Then you get the new owner, and wow, this is great. And then, oh man, this isn't working out. Was it even worth it? Can this even work here? And now, of course, you have the validation of all that. I think in some ways it takes players a while to learn to play in the NBA. It takes coaches a while to learn how to coach. I think maybe if you're an owner, it takes you a while to learn how to own properly.
No, I think that's true. I mean, I always felt I certainly wasn't involved as much with the latest ownership as I was some of the previous ones, but I always thought that at the time the Lukenbill group really kind of got it. They needed to sell. I knew, and I was very close with Jim Thomas to a degree, and that was the same thing. It's like, he came with the idea, well, I don't want to have a winner, I want to have a dynasty, but I don't want to pay anybody.
Right.
Can't pay this Otis Thorpe guy.
No, but I want a dynasty.
That's a good plan.
Within the next 3 years.
I think that'll work. But
Actually, he wasn't Otis Thorpe, was he? I said Otis Thorpe, but it wasn't Otis before.
Well,
Jim
Otis
Thomas?
was and the Lukenbill
so I
group,
apologize.
but and then of course the Maloofs, of course they came in, and to me they never really got quite the credit they deserved overall. I mean, because of the way that it ended.
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
deserve
That was
a
a
lot.
great movie with a horrible ending.
Horrible
You come out of
ending.
the thing, you go, boy, that movie kind of sucked, really.
Yeah,
I mean, it was
yeah,
got
you
some
know,
good parts.
halfway through the movie, you think,
I was all
wow,
involved,
This is
and
one
then
of the best
can
all
you
time.
believe what she did? Oh, come on, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, that would sum it up right
That's
there.
exactly
yeah.
what happened. Yeah,
Yeah. What movie is like that? I don't.
a lot of movies are like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Moneyball was kind of like that.
Well,
Not
I mean,
the
well,
extremes,
actually, some
but-
TV shows are like that. They
Yeah.
have a great seasons and stuff, and then they just screw the finale up. And
Yeah.
it's terrible.
Yeah, but now you got the ownership and you got the coach and you got the GM. We used to do a thing, Jer, years ago, the blame game when when things would go sideways, and people's expectations were so high. We had a bad loss or something. Well, whose fault is it? So we'd play the blame game.
There were
But
a lot of people there.
Yeah, everyone.
we were-
Yeah, the
like,
phones would light up.
He said Jerry Reynolds a lot.
Yeah, I think
No.
Yeah. Oh, he said it a lot.
would-
Yeah.
no.
Yeah,
Then he
I-
said Steve Kerr. I don't know why.
The wheel of blame. I think we had the wheel of. How about the wheel of credit? I think Monty
Oh,
McNair
well, he's at the top of
deserves
the wheel, yeah.
most of the credit.
He's got
And
a
there's
big
a lot
part of
of
the pie.
people who have spaces on there. Monty McNair to me would have the biggest spot on the wheel of credit.
I think he would for me too.
And you understand what goes into actually doing
Yeah.
these things.
Well, like I said, I mean, he really stepped out. He's drafted extremely well. Okay. Certainly, the contract that Fox got, I thought was a mistake at that time. Now it's not. Of course, maybe to the Kings' credit, had they not signed that, they might have traded him.
Yeah.
and so to me, just about everything he's done has been correct, which is hard to do. Coaching hire, getting a Kevin Herter, a free agent signing of Monk. Those are outstanding moves, I think.
Even
And,
the draft of Halliburton, and you got a good player for him.
Yeah, you got a terrific player for him.
Mm-hmm.
He was a terrific draft. He's the right guy. To me, that's like trading Jason Williams for Mike Bibby. Those are Jay Will was terrific, and Mike Bibby was different, but it works.
Mm-hmm.
It worked better.
Have you gotten over that yet, by the way, the trade of Jason Williams?
It really affected me. And you know why it affected me as much? Because he just came out the day before and said, we are not trading
I
Jason
know.
Williams. The next day they trade Jason Williams. What do I believe in
I just
anymore?
wanted to see
What
if you
do
were
I
okay.
believe in?
I just-
And that taught me a lesson, Jerry, because now I know whenever a front office guy, coach or something says something, I said, you put right now on the end of it. We're not trading Jason Williams right now.
Right.
Because we could get a better offer tonight. and all of a sudden we are trading Jason Williams.
We are not trading him at this moment.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I always put at the end of that now whenever I hear somebody, well, you know something, Bradley Beal is definitely in our plans.
Yeah.
Well, right
Well-
now. Right now. Yeah.
Well, too,
But
it's
it
like
could change tomorrow.
It's like where George Karl got in so much trouble for talking about possibility of trading Cousins or saying nobody was untradeable. Well, of course nobody's history's proven that.
Yeah,
If you can
yeah.
trade
That's true.
Jabbar and
You trade
Oscar
Jabbar,
Robertson
Shaq,
and Wilt
yeah.
Chamberlain,
Yeah, well-
and then you can trade DeMarcus Cousins or anybody else on a losing team. So that was just silly.
Yeah.
And I mean, it'd be the same thing now, even with all the success. But I've never gotten over Jason Williams because he might be my favorite.
Yeah, you love the guy, yeah.
Yeah, just not because he's that great a player, but because I loved watching him with all of his handling skills and his goofiness and I saw off the court he was a dingbat
That's a phrase we use in the psychiatry all the time.
he was
yeah.
full-fledged dingbat there for a while. He's kind of undingbatted himself, and
Yes,
I'm
he has.
really proud of him. He's becoming an adult and a father and all that, and so that's really. But
He's got a ring.
And for not being the best
and he's got a championship ring. And, really.
For not being the best player, he's still one of the people most responsible for ushering in that era. Fan friendly and all that. He's one of the guys right there at the forefront.
He probably, I'm convinced he had more to do with turning the franchise than any single player at that time on that 8-year run because of, team was dead in the water.
Yeah.
He came in and was must-see TV. He was ESPN highlights. People forget that every night.
Yeah, watchable and also to play with a guy like that, right?
Yeah.
Because if you were open, he's going to find you.
But you better pay attention.
And
That's
I think,
the thing I
too,
love.
the other issue at that time, people forget, was Webb didn't want to play here. He made it, that's true. And, he was Mr. Sulky Sulk for a while there. But
crying as he came into the airport.
But I think Jay Will just more than maybe even than Vlade at that early on is like, woo, it just perked his spirits up.
Yeah.
He got this point guard, man. He's fun to play with. He'll pass it to me anyway. And I can catch anything he throws.
Yeah.
Kind of like a low key, the way Magic kind of woke up the captain there when he came to the Lakers,
I do.
and Kareem was kind of not moody a little bit, but put a little life into him. I think maybe Jason Williams did the same for Chris Webber.
That's a great analogy, really.
Wow. Analogy corner. All
Great
right. Well done.
analogy.
Yeah.
If I had
only
to-
I was in the car doing that.
Yeah.
We'll think about it.
Yeah. You could pick me.
He'd have happy back seat, wouldn't he?
Yeah. I'd probably, for broadcast purposes, that would be best. Yeah.
If I had to guess Jerry Reynolds' 3 favorite Sacramento Kings of all time, if I had to guess, I would guess Jay Will.
Jay Will, yeah.
I would guess Eddie Johnson, and I would guess Isaiah Thomas. I don't know if
Wow.
and I don't. He had, some of these guys he coached.
That would be those 3 would be in whatever list I'd put. I don't know, they'd be 1, 2, 3. I'd have to think on a lot more. I mean, there's some periphery guys that I really enjoyed, or not, to some degree. Like Kevin Martin was really I really enjoyed Kevin. Jim Les.
Okay.
Really, but
Sure.
But
Enjoyed having him,
I think just that when you look at the talent level and all, then that probably would hit it. I always said Isaiah until now was basically the best Kings player that they ever had. They didn't know it, because he goes to Boston, averages 29 a game,
Insane, just
third
insane.
in MVP. Best player on a 51-win team, scores 53 in a game 7, and then of course and plays hurt, which probably ended his career.
It taught us a lot about the league too, in a way.
And played hurt emotionally,
Played hurt
too.
emotionally.
Yeah, played hurt.
And
Yeah,
at the end, that didn't really matter.
We were talking in the car, Phantom, about Isaiah Thomas, and Jerry says you see him on TV now, and he still wants to play. Well, he can't play, but that drive, that's what made him great, and that you don't shut that off like, I don't want to play anymore.
No,
he
not at
still
all.
wants to play,
Yeah.
he just can't.
Yeah. Well, I just kind of like us. You only watch, pardon the interruption, about the only thing on ESPN I watch anymore other than games. But with Kornheiser and Wilbon, they're my heroes.
Yeah.
But they have Steve Young on there occasionally, and I always remember them asking him, retiring from football, how'd you feel about that? He said, I compare it to death.
Okay.
He said,
All right.
I still would like to play.
Yeah.
And I think I could, he said, I think I could in today's game. They don't hit the quarterback.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, how did that competitive work for him when he had to sit behind Joe Montana? I'm sure he's bubbling up.
Well,
Yeah,
I
he's
think
not-
it's probably like
that's probably
Brett
why.
Favre and Aaron Rodgers.
yeah.
I mean, it was, definitely when you're really good and you're really good, but the other guy's really good
Yeah.
too. But that doesn't
And
that
you
doesn't
can't
mean
say
you.
this guy sucks because he doesn't suck.
That doesn't mean
Yeah.
you don't think you should play.
I don't think Joe Montana's ever gotten over the way they decided eventually, all right, you're gone, and it's him now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Wait, what?
Yeah.
What?
I'm Joe Montana.
But he did go with my Chiefs, and he was
Yeah.
very good there for
Very
a couple
good.
of years. Very good.
Very good. Phantom, we were talking a moment ago about the ESPN guys. Did you hear what Brian Windhorst had to say this week about the Sacramento
Yeah,
Kings?
it's pretty much all over the place, and really,
He says teams want to play the Kings in the first round.
at its core, I think he's probably exactly right. I
Yeah,
mean, if I'm another guy in the league, I want to take the team that doesn't play defense and hasn't been in the playoffs for a decade and a half. That's definitely who I'd want to play. And I know they have a great home court advantage, but they've lost games at home, so it's not like you can't beat them. So I totally understand exactly what he's saying about that. It doesn't mean it's going to work out for him, but if I'm sitting there going, well, do I want to go to Denver or Memphis or Sacramento? I probably would pick Sacramento.
So you're defending one of the, as Jerry says, one of the idiots on ESPN.
I'm defending that philosophy or that. I think that's exactly right. That's exactly what I would do if they makes me one of the idiots on ESPN. So be it. It keeps me out of the car show.
You've heard the saying, "Be careful what you wish for." That's what I would tell. And his nickname, is Windy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everyone knows it's windy. Yes.
Actually, I kind of like him, but I think he's one of the best ones, to be truthful. But I can't fault why he would say that.
I'd say it's going to
Yeah.
work out for him, but that's why
A lot of people around here have noticed it. That's a
Well,
lot of
it
people
goes
Well,
have-
they
back-
don't play any
What?
defense. Well, who doesn't want to play a team that doesn't play
I
defense?
thought you were defense.
I am, but we're going to the playoff schmayoffs now, and it's going to be a little bit
Okay,
different.
okay. Now let
Stop
me ask you, Mr. Basketball, a question.
Yes, sir, Mr. Reynolds.
Who does play defense offhand in the West?
In the West, well, periodically some of the teams play
Okay.
defense. Jokic is not a Memphis. I would say Memphis probably would be at the top of that. And then the other teams have the potential. Now, if the Clippers ever had all their players on the floor, they would probably play pretty good defense, but that doesn't seem to ever be happening, so you don't know.
Over the last 5 games, who's fifth in the league in defensive rating in the
Sacramento
West?
Kings.
Nope. Golden State
Dang it.
Warriors.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's only the last 5. And
I got Peyton back.
yeah, yeah.
He
doesn't
stops
play very
him-
often, I know, but still.
He stops him from sitting on the bench. doesn't he?
Just his mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, his mind keeps them up on the floor. He keeps it going. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, anyway,
I
mean,
would like to. Excuse me, Jared, but I would love to see the Kings and the Warriors play in the first round.
yes.
not for any kind of basketball, reasons. Just because I think it would be entertaining as hell.
Yeah, you're
my
going to
French.
see it. You're going to see it.
That would be
I think so
fantastic.
too.
I think
I
I
sure
think
hope so.
I think that's the way it's going to play out, and it is one of those things that. So, just talking on 1140 with the guys a little bit, and they were talking about that, and I said, "Well, I don't know. I mean, it's not. I'd be a little scared of it, but I'd be scared about anybody they play because that's the way the West is."
Exactly.
But I said, if there's anybody that knows the Warriors, the guy sitting on the Kings
Yes.
bench probably has a pretty
Yes.
good clue.
Yes.
I mean,
Which would make it. That's another reason that would make it so great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
All the intrigue.
Fantastic. Yeah.
And then pretty soon, if the Kings were lucky enough, fortunate enough to win, then there'd be some people talking about his guy Kerr. They'd say, "Well, maybe we."
Well, I hope we get some tidbits from Kerr before that series.
I haven't spoken
Obviously.
to him in a while. I'm sorry.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Really? You kind of didn't make eye contact when you said that. So maybe, yeah.
You know I would tell you.
Text him out right
You
now,
know
yeah,
that I
yeah,
wouldn't be
yeah.
shy about sharing the
But
contents
the
of the
thing is
conversation.
that number 4 spot in the West still with Phoenix in there now, but still it's not decided yet. It
Right.
looks like they'll probably get there, but it's not decided yet. I mean, the Warriors could move up a little bit. The Phoenix plays the Clippers the last day of the season, and I was kind of hoping it would be a situation where the winner of that is the 5 and the loser is the 6, and they got to play the Kings, and are they going to try to lose on purpose or something like
Well,
that? I got a whole intrigue going over
that
there.
touches on Mr. Basketball. To me, if there's a flaw in what Windhorst said, that's it. And you look at it face value, okay, that makes sense. But there's an implication there, perhaps, that some of these teams are like, well, we're gonna, we want to finish 6th,
Yeah.
and it's so jumbled right now.
You can't.
None of those teams has the luxury of sitting there going, well, yeah, let's lose this game and then win this game, because they're all very close to the play-in or worse.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of them are saying, well, if we just get in, we can win. But that doesn't mean you want to get in the play-in game. That's You just don't
Right.
want to do that because get a fluke game and all of a sudden you're out.
Yeah. Dallas right now, if the playoffs started today, which let me check. Okay, they don't. They don't start today. If they did, Dallas
okay.
is out. Dallas not even
Yeah.
in the play-in.
Yeah. And I'm not going to miss him. I'll be honest. I know Luka's. I'm not going to miss him.
No, I don't
Not at all.
think I don't think they're going to make it. I just don't. That's why when they were in it, that's who I wanted the Kings to face because I think they're the worst team.
Yeah.
They have just from a simple version of for me is like they have the least talented roster. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Here's what I don't understand about the Warriors, and I've been watching them a lot, as we all have. The game that they just they were losing by 20 to the Pelicans.
Yes.
Came back and won that game. Did you watch that game on TNT?
I did not.
Okay, because Stan Van Gundy was saying when they were throwing the ball all over the place. Stan Van Gundy said, right now the Warriors are unprofessional. That's what he said. It's like it was that bad. It's like, turnover. And then they came back and won that game, and they played like the Warriors, which is at a near or at a championship level. How does that – and this team's done that all year long. For some stretches, they're awful. I mean, really bad. The end of the Minnesota game. Then they come back, put it together, and it's like, oh, man, that team's really scary. And both things are true. I've never seen anything
Did
like
Van
it.
Gundy come back in the second half and go, now they're professional?
He did.
Okay, well done then.
Yeah.
But I mean that is a problem. It's like a part of every game they don't play like the Warriors.
yeah.
Like the Warriors.
In some of
have
those parts,
for-
they play really bad.
bad. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, there's a couple of things that always struck me. It's like when Curry was out, running up and down the sideline at home like a
Jerry,
cheerleader.
I've never forgotten
Well, no,
that,
it's Bush League.
You talk about that in the
Totally
car every
Bush-
week. Is that something that's on the car
Have you
show?
ever, when Jordan was out, or Bird, or Kareem, or Magic? You see them
Jordan
run?
was never out, but yeah.
Well, but
for
I
that
mean, you
one
see him running
season,
up
yeah,
and down.
yeah,
No, I think.
I would have loved to have seen Kareem running up
Yeah,
and down the
yay, yeah.
Come on, you guys, come on.
Well, but Magic, a very guy, but you didn't see
You
that.
didn't see that, no,
You
not
know,
at all,
it
yeah.
was really not a
Yeah.
good look for any. To me, it's a very undisciplined look. It's kind of like Draymond. Every game is just going berserk for no reason.
Well, he has unprofessional moments all
But
the
he
time.
has unprofessional
Yeah.
moments all
Yeah.
the time. But I think when you need more professionalism, he's not providing it.
That's interesting you say that, because the narrative that the team was driving out to that game was, oh, Draymond woke us up. And I watched the game, I was like, I don't think that's what happened. When Draymond lost his composure, the Pelicans' lead actually grew. It was like DiVincenzo actually got him going in the second half. But then after the game, it was, oh, Draymond woke us up. It's like, I don't think that's actually what
But they got to cover for him, though. That's part of what they
Yeah,
do. Though. You cover for him.
They've
in the
been doing
postgame,
that for years, and I think the cover is getting harder and harder to cover. And I think probably the last year of covering. But then the last thing for me is, and I watch him a good bit. Is that Jordan Poole just does not fit in a high percentage of the time. He is a one-on-one guy on a team that really doesn't by nature play that way.
Yeah.
They play like, at their best, they play like the Kings are playing. They really are an unselfish team with stars.
Yes.
And Jordan Poole seems like he's a guy. I'm a star. You guys fit with me.
Yeah. One of the principles of the offense, Mr. Basketball, is they want, and they didn't invent this. I think they got it from the Spurs, who got it from who knows who. They want you to make a decision. You get the ball. They want you to make a decision in how long?
3 seconds.
Half a second.
Yeah,
that's what they're trying.
Yeah.
And you can't always do that.
No.
But they want players to decide what you're going to do in half a second. Player movement, ball movement. And Jordan Poole sometimes is like, no, he needs longer than that to decide what he's going to do.
Well, his feeling,
right?
I mean, really, I'm convinced, I've seen a lot of these guys over the years, and like you guys, I'm pretty sure that Jordan Poole's thinking half second for you guys.
Yeah, it's
you guys half second.
it's like Steph and Clay and those guys are dads. Draymond's the grandpa, and Jordan Poole's like 16 years old. He's out there. He's just hitting puberty. He's just going to throw everything up there, and sometimes that doesn't fit into what the rest of the guys are doing. And these guys who rely so much on the three-point shot, sometimes that shot's not falling all the time, and you can fall behind in some holes there when the three-point's not going.
It should be a lot of fun if we do get those
That'd
two
be
teams.
fantastic.
Poole, by the way, and I'm with you 100%. He's been playing really well lately, and they got the Spurs tonight. So and the Kings got Portland, and Portland's not even trying.
They're not even trying.
It's embarrassing because they lost I think the Pelicans by like 34 or something like that the game before, and then they lose to the Kings by 40. Your guy Adam Silver has to step in at some point.
He does.
Hey, the competitiveness, you're making a mockery of the game.
As my man Tony Kornheiser said, if you had a living, breathing commissioner.
We know, Joe. We know. Yeah. I know. I'm sure that's on the car show every week. But,
Yeah.
But it's just a bad look. But I don't think. Sadly, I don't think the league really cares.
Yeah.
They go, well, we have a half dozen teams who right now aren't trying to win. So that's fine. That's what we got.
Yeah, the worst of it to me is, I mean, it's like you've got four teams that are going to be the four worst teams.
They're already in. Yeah.
Nothing Portland can do to get in that spot. Now, so what are they really gaining by being a total embarrassment to competitive sports?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, you gain a ping pong ball. And you get if
a little percentage,
a very slight percentage, which may not pay off at all.
But how weird is it too that you take a guy who's going for the All NBA team and just sit him down?
Yeah,
Damian Lillard is averaging 31, 32 points
a
game, and all of a sudden he's done.
Well, and my opinion there too is like this is on Dame to some degree.
I think so.
Sure.
Well, why aren't you saying I'm going to play? I mean, go back to the Michael Jordan thing his second year. It's like, we're shutting you down, Michael, and Michael's saying, no, you're not. I can play, and I'm going to play.
I'd forgotten about that. You're right. I forgot about that. That was incredible.
Led the team to the playoffs.
Yeah.
The situation like with Kevin Garnett on Minnesota for all those years. Well, he's the guy who should be on another team because he's getting wasted. That's kind of the Damian Lillard thing too. Is he's getting wasted. I don't see Kevin Garnett going, shut me down.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm going to take the rest of the year off.
I don't think
see
that's,
that.
I don't believe
See
you'd
that
ever
with
see
KG.
that.
No, I do not.
No.
Speaking of the Blazers fan, why don't you take us to Jersey City?
Jersey
They have
City.
your tour guide.
You're out there. You're in Portland. You're in the Rose City right now, and you're going to the game tonight between the Blazers and the Kings. You got to wear a Portland player's jersey to the game. But which player are you wearing? It's a pretty simple concept.
May I begin?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I got to know this guy, and he's just a peach of a fellow. And he was really, really nice to me. And he also has a unique place in Blazer lore. Number 33, 1971. He was might have been one of the original Blazers. So 1971, he's playing in a game against the Lakers, and they're getting clocked, and then they come from behind, come back, and this guy makes like a long, long shot, and Bill Shonley, the radio announcer, says, "Rip City, yes!" And it was for Jim Barnett, and Jim Barnett averaged, I think, 18 and a half a game. With Portland. He went to Oregon, so he's popular up there. Just a great guy. So I would wear number 33 for my buddy Rip City. Guy invented Rip City. Jim Barnett.
Is that where they first said it? That was the first time they
yes.
said it?
And they
Rip
have,
City.
outside the arena, they have a sculpture apparently. I haven't seen it. You've probably seen it. It says Rip City, but there's no I, so you can stand there and take a picture. But Rip City came from a basket that Jim Barnett made. Yeah,
I would
So-
go complain to somebody. You guys misspelled it out here. I would not.
You probably would.
I would not get the
I
concept.
wouldn't be surprised if you don't.
Tremendous one, Jer.
Well,
And you know Jim Barnett, right?
Oh yeah, Crazy Horse.
Yeah, that's
That was
right.
the nickname he had.
Yeah.
Well, I would go with a really a personal friend of mine and a wonderful boss, guy by the name of Jeff Petrie, all time
Interesting.
great, co-rookie of the year with Dave Cowens
What a
coming
player.
out. His jersey is hung up in the rafters. As a rookie, he had two back-to-back games of 51. Was a marvelous, probably next to Bill Bradley, or really was better probably than Bradley talent-wise, but Bradley at Princeton would still be considered the greatest, I think, since he led Tigers to Final Four and all that.
Pretty good
But,
player, yeah.
Yeah, I've always said, and I'm old enough to remember Jeff as a player, had he not had the back and knee injuries, I think he was a Hall of Fame talent. He really was, and I think a lot of people would agree with that. Sadly, that didn't happen.
Now, I think that he was an excellent shooter. I remember him a little bit. My question would be, is he a guy who in today's game would have scored even more points because of three-point shot?
I think his game, would have adjusted very well. I mean, I'm trying to think, he's kind of a Buddy Hield with knew how to play.
Yeah.
Nice caveat there. Well done, yeah.
That actually knew how to play and get shots and stay in his lane. Maybe Klay Thompson would almost be another version.
Yes.
Yeah, because at that time, player, anyway, yeah, I think you could put him possibly in that category, but injuries are injuries, and he had a short career. And
Do you think there's any chance that he says anyone other than number 32, Bill Walton? Is there any chance?
I sure hope so.
Yeah.
We got to hope.
Yeah.
Well, I used a personal connection for his, and Jerry used a personal connection for yours. I want to use one for mine as well. This is a guy who I had a class with at UCLA. This is a guy who
Sidney Wicks.
almost ran over me on his bike once. This is a guy we've talked to over the years and has apologized for that transgression. And his bike was like 7-8 feet
I
off
bet
the
it
ground. It
was.
was incredible.
I'm sorry, I almost ran
I got to
you
go with
over.
the great Bill Walton, obviously. He won the only title for the Blazers. He's an MVP there. He's a Hall of Famer. His career obviously affected by injuries for a long time, but he came back with the Celtics in '86 and won Sixth Man of the Year. Just an amazing guy and an amazing presence around basketball, almost as amazing after like a Charles Barkley is from the NBA and what he does. And Bill Walton's the same kind of thing. He's like a singular presence and really elevates everything. I think he elevates everything he gets involved with. So Bill Walton, yeah, I saw his first college game. I saw all the home games his first year. So I was in on the Bill Walton phenomenon as he played with Henry Bibby, was his point guard at that time. So, yeah, of course I'm going with Bill Walton. I mean, I thought a little about Maurice Lucas, but I got to go with Bill Walton.
Doesn't Bill Walton claim, or someone else who saw it claims, that Bill Walton and Greg Lee invented the alley-oop?
Well, they did the alley-oop. The first time I saw the alley-oop was
Maybe it was you who
early.
claimed
It
they
might have been,
invented it.
but it was Henry Bibby crossing half court in one of the first games of the Bill Walton sophomore season. Henry Bibby was crossing half court and he just shot it. And I'm like, what the hell's the guy shooting it for? And there's Bill Walton standing by the basket, jumps up, catches it, and drops it right in the hoop. Couldn't dunk in those days, of course. But that was the first time I ever saw it. But Greg Lee was on the other end of a lot of those alley-oops as well.
It probably existed before Bill Walton, didn't it? I mean, you would know.
Well,
it's
yeah,
the
they threw it to
alley-oop.
Bill Russell and he caught it and dropped it in, I'm sure. But
I guess I don't know.
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well,
Jerry
that's very
didn't
nice.
play above the rim.
No.
The Caucasian Comet was down here. Okay.
Yeah, he sure was. Yeah.
Down
You know
here
what drives
dishing
me
it to you.
crazy? Sometimes you see a guard and he's got somebody ahead of him and he's got a shot, and instead of shooting it, he'll throw like an alley-oop.
Yeah,
and
he'll just
like
go
goes
like
over
that.
the guy's
Yeah.
head, or he throws it out of bounds. Like, what are you
And
doing?
the more lackadaisical he looks, is the better it is. If he does it that way, it's a lot cooler than
you
if he
got a
goes
2-on-1,
like this. Yeah.
and throwing it up
Yeah,
there and
well-
hoping the guy catches it is probably the least likely to
Well,
result.
the other one
reward.
that makes me even madder is not just the alley nope. Is
Thank
you know
you.
The alley
is
nope.
is the 2-on-1 to where the guy throws it to his hands and he misses it and then he goes throw it up.
Yeah. And he
know,
doesn't even do
it's
the
like-
thing where he goes, that's me.
Yeah, it's like
yeah.
catch it, you dumb.
Yeah. Yes.
Twort.
No,
Yeah.
But if I caught it, I'd have to do a layup.
Yeah.
And if you throw it up, I can
Yeah,
slam
yeah.
it down.
Well,
So that's
fumbles out of bounds. Throw it up.
you're
throw it
killing
up.
my highlight potential over here.
Bill Walton played in the NBA, as did his son. So if you took all the players who played in the NBA and also their sons who played,
Okay.
and you took all of them as in their primes. Okay,
Okay, all
not
right,
now.
all right.
Poor Bill wouldn't be able to get.
Well,
up
a
and
lot
down
of them
the
would not
floor.
be as good. No,
right,
yeah.
right. So you took father-son combinations in the NBA in their primes.
Okay.
You had a tournament. Oh, who wins? Who wins? Not, and I know you didn't say that they would, but it wouldn't be Bill and Luke Walton.
No, I don't think it would because Bill would be talking to everybody and Luke would be looking at the tape, so it wouldn't work out that way. I'm going to go with
If Luke coaches them, they got
yeah,
no
they
chance.
have no chance. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to go with Sabonis, Arvydas, and DeMontis. And if they're at their prime, Arvydas Sabonis was about as good as it got. So I mean, it was,
Well, both those guys actually had a little range too, huh?
They have range, and
even
Arvydas
Arvydas
was
at the
just,
time, I
he
think,
was
had a
massive.
little bit of a-
He was massive. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Sabonises as my entry.
Well, that'd be tough to beat. I mean, I wouldn't be scared to go with Rick and Brent Barry. I think
I would pay to see that match.
Yeah,
It'd
you
be
know,
good.
Oh,
It'd be
boy.
good, but
And
they'd
then,
argue the
you know,
entire time.
I think that's one we didn't mention. It's kind of interesting is Andrew Wiggins and Mitchell Wiggins.
Ah,
You know,
yes.
I mean, people get
Yeah.
Mitchell's a really good player. Played on a final
Mm-hmm.
NBA finalist, and
Yeah.
of course, his son has played on a champion.
I
it's a
I'd
low-key good
assume-
one. That is a
I
good
assume
one.
we'd be playing half court, and that would neutralize one of their biggest assets,
The
which would be
speed.
the
Yeah.
zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah, because isn't Andrew Wiggins' mom? She was like an
track
Olympic
star or something?
sprinter
Yeah.
or something.
yeah, I think
Candace,
so.
I think. Yeah.
Well, I think Clay and Michael Thompson bring a little
Ooh,
bit of
that's a good
everything to
one.
the party.
Yeah, that'd be a
Shooting,
good one.
size,
That's
defense.
a good one.
Yeah.
Broadcasting ability, yeah.
Yeah, that too. So you
Yeah.
can broadcast the games. That'd be important. Yeah.
Well,
So Thompson's, Berries, and Sabonises, huh?
Yeah, well, I think maybe Fred Jokic and Nikola Jokic. I mean, you got to.
Fred was a good
Fred
player.
Fred
yeah, I
was
mean, no range though. I mean,
No
he was the
range.
Rich Kelly of wherever he's from. I don't know where he's from, but he's the Rich Kelly of there. Yeah, that's a good one.
What about Dell and Steph?
Well, I think that'd be really. I mean, obviously.
But I mean, we're talking about some really
No,
you
they-
know,
I
They
mean,
just
I
go
like
out.
it,
They
too.
just stay out 30 feet away
Dell,
the whole
yeah,
time.
Dell was, Dell was kind of ahead of his time as far as a shooter. I mean, not Steph. He's more Seth. But
That's not bad.
Seth's not bad. So that's one you'd have to think about.
So yeah,
Sure.
if there was a 3-on-3 tournament, it would basically be them against the Berries, right? I mean, you got to have 3 out there. So
Yeah, I don't even know.
If you had to have that, well, anyway. But
Yeah.
it is interesting, with all the different, father-son things, and sadly we're starting to understand more of them because we
Yeah.
seen their pretty soon
I
will
know.
be
LeBron and Bron,
grandfather
yeah.
and grandson.
Dolphin Danny Shays.
Oh, the Shays.
The Shays, yeah.
They'd be in the old school division. Yeah,
Dolphin
definitely.
Danny.
That was
Yeah.
wasn't that father son?
Yeah.
Dolphin
Yeah.
Danny
Wait for
Shays?
Jabari Smith and Jabari Smith Jr.
Yeah. Against and I know you mentioned this before we started. Jalen Rose.
Jalen Rose and Jimmy Walker.
Jimmy
There
Walker.
you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Underrated too there.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely underrated. Yeah,
Yeah.
because of Jimmy Walker.
Absolutely.
So did Mr. Basketball do it again? Did he hit the nail on the head when I throw it out? Did he name the winning team like that? The Sabonises?
I kind of think he Well, he didn't, but that was
Okay,
But he
good.
did good. I
did well.
I
Yeah.
did good. As long as I do good, it might get me into the car show.
I got to
That's
go.
what I'm saying.
I don't
Hey,
know
I
about
still
that.
think Rick Barry and Brent Barry.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
That's
I just wanna
and Brent would actually be the one person who could play with Rick.
That's the
Right.
key. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I'll
John couldn't have because he was too much like Rick.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I'll do, because I know we've talked to Rick and he's available. I don't have a number, but we could find it. I'll ask him. What do you think, Rick?
I wonder
Barry-
what he'd say. Yeah. Oh, he'd say, "Well, those guys that hold up their side, we'd win." Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know what the answer would be.
Just ask him who would come in second.
Yeah.
Then you get more conversation.
Well,
All right.
and Phantom, he could talk to his buddy Bill.
Well, Phantom, I would be fantastic, Phantom. I would do a tremendous job. My son Luke was a coach in the NBA. He also went traveling into Asia.
I
He went on the trails of Marco Polo.
That is what he would say.
That's pretty good. I think I've told this story before, but I always feel obligated to tell this Bill Walton story because he's so easy. You know, like, oh, Bill Walton, what a big goofball. He came into our studio, KCK, one time because he knew Kevin the Rat. They'd done a show in Portland. And so Bill Walton comes in, and, of course, he's upset because we didn't break on time. And he was like,
Yeah,
you're
he's
supposed to break at
You
12
have to
after."
follow the clock.
Yeah.
What's the matter with you?
Yeah, but between, you know, we're getting ready to go on the air, and I told him my daughter at the time, Lonnie, I said she's going down there in La Jolla. I know you live down there. She's going to school down there, UC San Diego. And he goes, and he writes down his name and number. Here, give this to her. If she needs anything, ever call me. I just met the guy. That was
Lonnie is the finest child that anyone has ever had in the continental United
You
States.
should have said, call him and ask him for some money.
yeah.
Or,
to
I
go.
need a place to stay for a month. Can I come over, Bill?
And could I have a stipend, please? $100 a week? Thank
Yeah.
you.
Years after
I'm
that,
sure he would have given it to
my
us.
other daughter started dating this guy whose dad said he knew Bill Walton. So
Now
in
I'm
San
in
Diego.
the weeds now.
Janelle, but you
I know Janelle. Yes, I
she
do know
married
her.
Jack. She just got married.
Yes, I know Jack,
Yeah,
yes.
Jack's
I was
father
there.
knew Bill Walton. So I was like, I got to find out about this guy, this kid.
Oh,
so I emailed Bill Walton. It's like, hey, you knew this
You're
guy.
doing a background check
Yes.
on your daughter's
Yes.
boyfriend by emailing Bill Walton.
My wife did.
Whitey,
think it
he's
was a
a
good idea.
tremendous young man.
He said, he was like, I actually have lost track of them and I haven't had any contact with them for many years. I can't help you, but you're being a very good father. By the way, if you get the opportunity, Neil Young's new album is sensational.
Yes.
Really, that's actually
Back to the days of Heart of Gold, Neil
Yeah.
Young, one of our finest
so
singer-songwriters.
easy to make fun of. But Heart of Gold, I think Bill Walton, there's a really good person.
Oh, he is a good. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, he was. He was good. My experience working with him, you just can't. He's
Once he
great
gets
guy.
going.
I do
Yeah,
feel
he's
sorry
just
for the
gonna
guy
be here
that
a
works
while.
with him on
He's
the
just
college
on a
kids, though.
different
Yeah.
plane, you know.
Yeah.
You just have to say this is normalcy.
Yeah.
This is Bill up here somewhere.
I got to tell you, that was a very good Bill Walton that he did.
He
went-
was, wasn't it? You know,
really
I
good.
think it's a little scary how much time he's
Yeah.
put into that.
Wouldn't
I
you
think.
guys like to ride to the show with Bill Walton in your car?
I don't think so.
Darn it! Darn it, darn it,
I
darn
will
it.
see you Monday.
Yes.
On the Old Fashioned 3. Subscribe, like. Thanks for watching.
Best show I've ever seen.
Thank you for joining the Old Fashioned 3 on Stones Radio Networks. To stay updated on the show, like and subscribe on YouTube, and all shows are available for download on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, and of course at stonesradionetworks.com. Follow the show and the gents on Twitter at OL, Fashioned, and the number 3, at Phantom Radio 60, and at Whitey Gleason. This has been a production of Stones Radio Networks.